Hey, and welcome back to Miss Kitty's Wild West Adventures. Picture it. It's July 8th, 1898 in Skagway, Alaska. The tension is thick as a notorious conman strides down the Juneau Wharf carrying a Winchester rifle in his hand. His target? A meeting of townsfolk fed up with his swindles. Moments later, gunfire erupts, and Jefferson Randolph, Soapy Smith, self-proclaimed king of the frontier conmen, falls to the ground. His final words were, "My God, don't shoot." How did a wealthy Southern boy become the most infamous frontier swindler? Stick around to find out. Born on November 2nd, 1860 in Coweta County, Georgia, Soapy Smith came from wealth. His father owned a plantation. But the Civil War changed everything. By 1876, financial ruin forced the family to move to Round Rock, Texas. The following years were marked by tragedy. His mother died in 1877, and in 1878, young Soapy witnessed the death of outlaw Sam Bass. Not long after, he left home for good. By the 1880s, Smith had moved to Fort Worth, Texas, and he formed a gang of thieves who performed small cons. But it was his infamous prize soap racket that cemented his reputation. Imagine this, a display case with beautiful soaps lined up on a street corner. Soapy would theatrically wrap money, anywhere from $1 to $100, around some bars, covering them with plain paper. One of his partners would buy a bar, unwrap it, and find cash, and this brought flocks of people to his stand to buy soap in the hopes that they too would become rich from his bars of soap. But here's the catch. The big prizes always went to Smith's accomplices. In 1879, Soapy arrived in Denver, Colorado, and by 1882 he was running his first empire. His gang, known as the Soap Gang, included notorious figures like Texas Jack Vermillion and Big Ed Burns. By 1887, Soapy had essentially bought Denver's City Hall and police force, ensuring he avoided prosecution. In 1888, he opened the Tivoli Room, a saloon and gambling house, and over the door he had a sign that said, "Caveat emptor." Well, if you're like many of the frontier folks and don't speak Latin, that meant let the buyer beware. He warned them. His younger brother, Bascom Smith, joined him in this enterprise, running fraudulent poker games and fake lotteries. Despite his knack at running schemes, he also had a knack for making himself indispensable. He donated to churches, to schools, and he even paid for the funerals for indigent prostitutes. In 1892, during a silver boom, Smith moved to Creede, Colorado. Using Denver-based prostitutes to befriend property owners, he tricked them into signing over their leases to him. Declaring himself the camp boss, Soapy opened up the Orleans Club, another gambling hall. He even purchased a petrified man named McGinty, charging 10 cents admission to see it. Despite his swindles, Soapy's charisma and occasional acts of charity made him very popular in town. By 1897, the Klondike Gold Rush was in full swing, and Soapy saw opportunity in Skagway, Alaska. Here he set up his third empire. Among his schemes were to set up a fake telegraph office, where miners would pay hefty sums to send telegraphs that never left the building. His gang befriended newcomers and would swiftly lead them to gambling halls and clean them out of all their money. Soapy's saloon, Jeff Smith's parlor, became known as the real City Hall of Skagway. When a vigilance committee, the Committee of 101, threatened to expel him, Soapy formed his own Law and Order Society with 317 members. He even gained official recognition for his volunteer army, the Skagway Military Company, during the Spanish-American War. On July 7, 1898, a prospector named John Douglas Stewart returned to Skagway with about $2,700 in gold dust. If you're wondering, that's about $100,000 in today's money. 3 of Soapy's men convinced him to play 3-card Monte, but when Stewart refused to pay, they stole his sack of gold. The Committee of 101 demanded that Soapy return it, but he said the gambler made his own decision and lost it fair and square. The next evening, the committee held a meeting on the Juno Wharf. Armed with a Winchester, Soapy attempted to crash the meeting, but was confronted by Frank H. Reed. The two exchanged gunfire, and both were mortally wounded. Soapy's reign ended that night, but his reign as the king of the frontier swindlers was immortalized. Soapy Smith's life was a testament to the power of charm, audacity, and sheer nerve. From soap bars to city halls, he turned deception into an art form. But in the end, his schemes caught up with him, proving that even the craftiest conman can't escape the ultimate reckoning. So what do you think? Was Soapy Smith a genius swindler, a villain, or a man of his times? Leave a comment down below. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Miss Kitty's Wild West Adventures. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and ding the bell for notifications. And in the meantime, caveat emptor, or let the buyer beware, and I'll catch you on down the trail.